All right. In this assignment, it's going to be where you trace either a self portrait or a large. I would recommend a large image that you find online. Um, the self portraits are usually, those are kind of cool, but you're going to turn yourself using Illustrator into a comic book character or a cartoon. It's all going to be dependent on how much time you take on your tracing, on how well executed it'll look. So I'm gonna I downloaded this image right here from the internet, and I'm going to open up Illustrator. So click on the Windows key, click on Adobe Illustrator, and when that does open up, I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to find the picture, and then I'm going to open that up. Now you may see a little black lined box that kind of almost crops your image. Sometimes it's even smaller than this compared to your image. What that is, think of that as your paper size. It's called an artboard, and it's very easy to adjust. So that probably will be the first thing you would have to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to File and then Document Setup. We're going to click on Edit Artboards, if you can see where my cursor is at. And then we see kind of almost like a selection box around that, that black line box that we saw. So what you can do is you can just grab the corners. You can kind of see how it gives you the diagonal double arrow. And you can just adjust it to be the size of your image. You can make it a little bit bigger if you want. I'm going to make mine pretty much the size of the image. Once you have that, so if I zoom out with a control minus, we can see that our picture and our artboard are now aligned. From after you have it, just click on any tool and that selection box will go away. So with this, what you're going to want to use is one of the drawing tablets, which you'll plug into the computer. And I recommend using this blob shape tool or the blob brush tool. This is pretty much with minus a few extra steps that will make it look better especially when it comes time to printing and saving and all that. But this is aligned with a written tutorial that will also be attached. Kind of that person's making his photo character into a zombie. You don't have to necessarily make him into a zombie. You can if you want. But minus a few steps that I've picked up, I would it'll be kind of written there too. But a lot of it is up to you and how much time you take with your drawing. Once you click on the blob brush tool, what you may see first is a paintbrush tool. So it's going to be right here. If you can see where my cursor is at, you can just click on that, hold it down, go to the blob brush tool. Once you've picked that, double click. This will also be in the written directions, but it's because he's using an older version of Illustrator, it may look a little bit different. But this is kind of what I have ascertained to be what he has put in his directions. So merge only with selection. The fidelity and smoothness, that I would adjust depending on what area of the face you were drawing. But usually for the most part, right around here is pretty good. So it should default right in the middle. If you put it over here, one over to the left. And then you want this one to pressure. So it's going to be on fixed. You're going to click that one, put it to pressure, and the third one down, put that to pressure also. And I have the size 1. I think he may even have it at 5, but so we can just put it at 5 for right now. The size will depend on your will depend on the area of the face that you're drawing. So in this variation, I put that over to the max of this. So what that means is, because it's all based off pressure, which I'll show you in just a second, you want this to be the maximum to be the same as your size. So when I hit OK, if I were to barely touch the screen, the drawing tablet to the if I were to barely touch the drawing tablet to the pen to the drawing tablet, we see that it got thinner right here. So this is when I was barely touching it, and then the more pressure I put onto the drawing tablet, the thicker it got. And then this would be your full like size 5. You can also use the left bracket and right bracket to adjust the size of your blob brush. So if I double click on this, we can see now it's back to 1, and this will change with it. The unfortunate thing, unlike Photoshop, you can just easily see the size of your brush. In Illustrator, you cannot. So just kind of, you would just adjust it dependent on the areas that you are drawing around. So if I were drawing around the outside of the face, maybe I'd go a little bit thicker. If I was drawing on the inside, maybe where there's detail, I would maybe use the left bracket and make it thinner. And just kind of like that. But I will show you after that step, kind of your next step into starting your drawing in the next tutorial.